In 1919, 101 years ago, the US saw something that history now calls the Red Summer. It was a rash of race riots which took place across the United States, one of the most violent being the Chicago riots. We face similar protests, rioting, and movements now in spring of 2020. And I wanted to share a selection from a contemporary Black poet, author, and scholar, Eve L. Ewing. Eve wrote 1919 poems inspired by her research into the Chicago riots. It's her home. And specifically, she was inspired by a report compiled by a committee in 1922, 3 years after the riots, called The Negro in Chicago, a study on race relations and a race riot. The committee was comprised of 3 Black men and 3 white men, who were all considered to be upstanding citizens in their communities. They sought to understand the lives of Black folks, assuming that knowing what those things were like would help them to understand how and why race riots happen. I wanted to share this selection because I think it speaks deeply to what we're going through now and some of the criticisms that the riots and protests are facing, and why we are still continuing to have this fight 101 years later. Eve's book, 1919 Poems, can be found on Haymarket Books. That is the direct publisher and one of the best places to purchase it from in order to support Eve, along with other projects, future projects, and social medias that she does. This is not her only book. The selection I wanted to share is called Sightseers, and it begins with 2 quotes, one from The Life of the Mind by Hannah Arendt, as well as one from the report. So, from the report, quote, "Often the sightseers, and even those included in the nucleus, did not know why they had taken part in crimes, the viciousness of which was not apparent to them until afterward." And from The Life of the Mind, "The sad truth is that most evil is done by people who never make up their minds to be good or evil." Sightseers. "Just this once, I hope you'll forgive me for writing a somewhat didactic poem. I just didn't know how else to say that we live in a time of sightseers, standing on the bridge of history, watching the water go by, and there are bodies in the water. The water has been dirty for so long, and the sightseers still drink from it. They buy special filters, and they smile, and they have nice glasses and teacups. They put sugar in the dirty water that has our bodies in it. And there are sightseers seated beneath the Tower of Empire, peering up at the lights, and there are children in the tower, and the tower has been crooked for so long. And the sightseers still look at it. They find the lights enchanting. They meet up on the weekends. They have picnics in the plaza of the tower that has our children in it. And there are sightseers looking at the House of Power, waiting to take a tour, and there are devils in the house, and the house has been wicked for so long. And the sightseers still worship it. And they stand in front and take pictures. They marvel at the white pillars. They send postcards of the house that has the devils in it. And just this once, I hope you'll forgive me for asking you directly to forget the lovely water, to forget the charming pillars, Because there are children in the tower. There are children in the tower. There are children in the tower. And they are dead already. I wanted to choose this, and I wanted to share this selection in particular, make it for anybody who might need it as a resource. Because there are too many people who are standing on the sidelines saying that those who are protesting, those who are pushing for change need to stop being so divisive. And I need to tell you, and Eve needs to tell you, and we all need to say that we have been divided for hundreds of years. And those who are pushing to close that gap are not the ones being divisive. It is gaslighting to say so. Those are our children in the tower. And if things don't change now, many of them are already dead. Thank you.